Y'all ready? Somebody say, put me in the game, coach. Yes, sir. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
When you see me in the streets, holler at me. Say, put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. 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 Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. We got it working, baby. We got it working, baby. I'm excited today, man. Hopefully y'all are excited to be here today, this morning, here on the Coach Smook Network, man. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Everybody feeling good? Everybody feeling good? Yeah, give it up for yourself. We sound good today. We sound real good today. I feel good. I feel real good today. How does we sound in the chat, man? How we sound, chat? We sound good? We sound good, chat? Go Bucks. No way. Hey, last night, man, if you all watched the playoff games last night, we're starting to see some really skilled basketball at the NBA level. We're seeing some quality basketball again. It was a stage for about 6-7 years where it was all about flagrant fouls and stuff, but I like this first round matchups. I could say that. A bunch of flopping. We went through that phase. We got a new age of players taking over the league, man. It's starting to show up. Christian Ballard coming through, showing some love, man. I see you, my boy. Hey, I didn't get to see the alert all the way, but I saw it. My Heat ain't got a chance. Hey, it's tough going for them, man. Cleveland looks nice right now. Cleveland looks very nice right now. Golden State, sorry for you. If Butler's done, you're done. Steph and Dre can't do it. Young Zuminga ain't been playing. Rusty. Who else, man? Boston looks good too. But who is Boston playing? Are they playing Milwaukee right now? Boston playing Milwaukee right now? Who's Boston playing right now, chat? It's a good matchup. And I know New York and Detroit. That is a crazy good matchup right now. Detroit so young. I didn't know they were that young, man. Minnesota. Lakers turning out to be a good series. I thought the youth of Minnesota was going to be the edge for them, but Luka and LeBron kind of allow a lot of those young guys, those younger guys, to kind of have their freedom in this offense. And they've been more dialed in on defense. That's been the difference for my Lakers. But we're not here to talk about NBA playoffs today. We're here to talk about college football, primarily Bama football. We got a lot to talk about today, man. I got some topics of discussions to get into, man. Some topics that we've been seeing on the Twitter space. Y'all know I got to get my... It wouldn't be right if Coach Smook didn't respond to all the craziness that we've been seeing. So jumping into this draft conversation this week, today. As we see the draft going forward. So looking at the conversation around it, man, it's just crazy to see some of the media outlets and how they're portraying someone that's supposed to be supporting. So we'll get into that conversation and we'll just look at it. You know, we're not saying anybody saying anything, but perception is something. So we're going to go based off of our perception, right? Not saying that our perception is correct, but it's my perception and I have a right to have one, right? And I have an opinion, right? And that's what we come here to share, is our opinions. So shout out to the 18 of you in the chat right now over here on YouTube. And then if you're over there live on Twitter, man, continue to like. You know what? Did y'all know y'all can react on Twitter? I didn't know that. Hit that reaction. There's a reaction space over there on Twitter if you're on a mobile device. React to the live stream on Twitter, and that'll help us out retweet this. Let everybody know that you're live, kicking it with Coach Smook and the AAA family. And shout out to everybody, man. I seen we got some more members, man. We're at 117 members in the AAA family on the YouTube channel. So that's lit. You know, we really haven't been pushing it necessarily as far as promo necessarily, but we've been doing a good job in spreading the word. Where's our account at? That's what I meant to go and check out too. I wanted to go check out our account because we're getting close. I told my cousin yesterday, I said, man, you know what's crazy? If everybody in my family, if I just had my family members, right? Just cousins and aunties and uncles was to subscribe to my channel, I will be over 3K. We got that many people. But it goes to show you that hard work and diligence. He said, yeah, a lot of us didn't even know you was doing it. So it's a two-way street. So that's why we continue to work and press like we do. And I appreciate you all for supporting and getting the word out like you do. So we're going to get into the conversation today. If I sound a little stuffy, it's because y'all know this weather's getting crazy. It's supposed to rain today down here. So I'm going to try to push through it. I got some water over here. But welcome to the show. Let's get into it. Don't forget, as you come in, like, share, and subscribe. If you aren't subscribed, turn on all notifications. And if you're not a member of the AAA family, if you not have taken advantage of becoming a member of this AAA community and getting the inside scoop on everything you need to know about Alabama football, Alabama athletics, you're missing out. Take a chance, join up, become a member of the AAA family, and experience this growing community, man. We got a lot of stuff happening. So y'all know May is an eventful month. It's my birthday month. I'm doing, if you haven't noticed, I haven't posted any personal stuff on my personal social medias that's for a purpose. I don't see it yet, but I do feel my body coming back together. I'm trying to be on the road to chapter 35. 25. Lord Jesus, wish. But 35, we're on our way. So we'll be doing a bunch of specials with drop-in streams during the month of May. We got a lot of recruiting coverage. We're going to have a lot of under the radar guys. Check them out, coach guys. Come on. We're going to be collabing with Coach Marcus Dent over on Gridiron Sites. We got Hall Tech Sports, Brody Smook. We're going to be collabing with a lot of people during this recruiting phase during May, trying to keep you all informed on the recruiting landscape, not just not with Alabama, but the whole recruiting landscape. Maybe get you interested in looking at some guys and following them and helping supporting some guys that need looks or getting looks and gaining looks. Get you interested, you know, just continue to widen our variety of content of what we bring here as far as coverage of athletics and sports information. So with that being said, shout out to who was this in the first comment? Who was that came in with the Lakers in 5 comment? My boy Thab, our graphic design logo design manager. He talking about some roll tide, high tide, rain or shine. It don't matter. Lakers in 5. Hey, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful out here in these streets, cause that Lakers in 5 thing, it got real vibey. It got real vibey. But yeah, we rocking with my Lakers, man. Rocking with the Lakers, man. I'm really rocking with the Lakers. Hey, does that light look better like that, chat? Or is it too dark? I think that's good. I think that's good. I think we got a better light right there. Yeah, that's way better. I had to turn it down a notch. You know what I mean? But welcome in everybody. Let's get to the show. Let's get into the conversation today. I want to just go straight into these articles, man. It's a few links. Shout out to one of our mods, one of our community mods, Megan. She's really been putting in work. She keeps me up to date on, you know, the hot topics and everything with everything that I have going on, especially during this time of year with recruiting. She kind of keeps a lot of the media stuff, kind of keeps some of the interesting topics in front of me, right? Outside of what I'm already diving into and researching. But there was an interesting take on Jalen Milroe, right? And before we even get to that, let's talk about Alabama draft prospects. I'm excited about Alabama draft prospects. Let me pull this up. I'm gonna pull up this draft prospect article, and they had a nice USA Today, I think it was. All right, here we go. They had a nice mock draft on USA Today. This is the one, like, this is the time of year I actually go and watch these guys. And if you all know who Craig Meyer is, He's one of the journalists for USA Today. He brought this article here. He wrote this article, gave us his mock draft. And I kind of just want to go through it and kind of just dive on the conversation of Alabama prospects in the draft. Let me get this. All right, here we go. Straighten this up the right way so y'all can. Hey, Jason, how are you this morning? Oh, Jason, what's up, brother? What's up, man? Good to see you, bro. All right, y'all. Let me get this right. Can y'all hear the beat? I probably had it too low. I couldn't hear it. All right, so let's get to this. I want to look at the article because it was an interesting article. It gave me a little bit more insight, a lot more insight than what I thought I knew when it came to Alabama draft prospects. Like I said, I don't know everything. I just know what I know, fellas, ladies, and gentlemen. So let's get to it. All right, let's talk about it, chat. Let's talk about it, man. Our transitions are smooth this morning. Hey, W's in the chat for the transitions. Coach Smook on the ones and twos. Got Lady Mary J taking a break, man. Keep Mary J in y'all prayers. Y'all know how important she is to this community. And you don't need to know what's going on. Just pray for my Mary J. Everybody know how close she is to this community, how solid she is for us. Keep her in y'all prayers, man. She's just such a great person. Just a good person in general. And somebody that I've been able to confide in during this transition and the growth of this network. And I want to make sure everything's good. So y'all make sure y'all keep Mary J in the prayers. And yeah, I appreciate y'all for loving our community. All right, so let me turn this ringer off because my Instagram about to be blowing up. Thank y'all for supporting the shorts and reels too, man. I've been seeing y'all. Thank y'all 100%. I'm excited. I feel like God is really about to do something for the Coach Smook Network. We've been diligent, we've been persevering, and I really appreciate y'all for being here. So let's get to the conversation. Alabama's run under Coach Nick Saban was unlike any modern football history, with the Crimson Tide winning 9 SEC championships. Right? Let me zoom back out. I'm tripping. Over the course of that dynamic run, Alabama sent more than its fair share of players to the NFL, with 129 players drafted between 2010 and 2024. Though Saban's no longer roaming the sidelines at Bryant-Denny Stadium, the program he oversaw will be sending in more than a few players this month to the NFL, nearly 16 months after his retirement. The 2025 NFL Draft gets started with Thursday night's first round at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with Alabama, as is often the case, having at least one player expected to hear his name called among the first 32 picks. All-SEC linebacker Jahad Campbell is widely projected as a first-round pick after a strong junior season. Beyond him, though, Coach Kalen DeBoer's program has several other players who are expected to be selected by one of the NFL's 32 teams, none of which has attracted more pre-draft intrigue than quarterback Jalen Milroe. Which Tide standouts are on their way to the NFL? And I'm gonna put a poll in the chat. Make sure y'all hit this poll first. Make sure you're liking the stream. I'm gonna get a poll prompted for after we get done with this. Two guys, round one from Bama. I like y'all thoughts. I think we get 2 or 3. I think we might get 3 in this first round, man. I think, and we're going to get into that conversation. I don't want to give it up. Y'all trying to get me to jump the gun, and I ain't doing it today. Y'all are not going to get me to jump the gun. Let me move the chat out the way. Get the chat off the screen for a second. Y'all running it up today. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to take it off the screen. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. A lot bit smaller. All right. And then, let's see. Y'all run it up. Run up some emojis. Let's fill this little chat box up over here. Fill it up. Let me see what happens. Run up some emojis. All right. Alabama football players in 2025 NFL mock drafts, and this is where I want to kind of get into the discussion because this is good insight. I think this is accurate. I've always kind of followed Craig over the years when it came to the draft, and he is highly accurate. You know, with a lot of these projections, especially when it comes projections for the SEC network, well, the SEC conference, like where guys will go in the SEC. So I'm looking at it now, and I see Jahad Campbell. He's expecting him to go number 16 overall. I've heard Arizona, and we saw Arizona. We saw Arizona really giving him a lot of attention at Alabama's Pro Day, and we saw that last year when Atlanta was at the Pro Day for Jason McClellan. You know, that's something I got to see firsthand. So when you see things like that happen, you talk about the interviews that's kind of been happening, the team interviews, the workouts. Looks like Arizona is slotted to get him. And I think that's a good spot for him, Jahad Campbell, going into that system, that defense, that defensive front. It's going to allow him to kind of naturally play, might get back into playing the outside linebacker role at the next level, right? Inside linebacker, great footage, great work. But I think a lot of people are going to want to use his athletic ability and his range at the outside linebacker position. Great pass rusher. Remember when he first came to Alabama, that's what his skill set was. Great edge rusher, right? Is he an off the ball backer? Doesn't matter, given how few answers the Cards appear to have at these positions. Aside from recently, they just signed Josh Sweat. So you add Jahad Campbell, a rookie that could come in and has played in a system, you know, in two different defensive systems where he's excelled, both under Saban and both under Coach Kane Wommack. He's shown his ability to be a high IQ player and be productive when he's on the field, an efficient tackler, especially when he's healthy. And Tyler Booker, we know Tyler Booker, that him going to Seattle is going to be interesting. That offense was definitely, we know Ryan Grubb got fired. Seattle's offense was very productive, though. We know why that firing happened. We know why they released him. And it was all part of the overall plan of his transition to Alabama, in my opinion. But looking at that offensive line from last year, they struggled in the run game. Tyler Booker is probably your best run blocking offensive lineman in the draft. Probably your best run blocking offensive lineman, especially at the interior. And then he can play tackle. That's the thing. You're getting a valuable guy. Has he taken snaps? Yes, he's taking snaps. He snapped at high school level. So he's a complete offensive lineman that creates value for him. He's done all three positions at multiple levels. I think you're looking at a first round pick and probably the first offensive lineman to come off the board, in my opinion. Still talking about other Alabama players in the draft. Though Campbell is the only Alabama player generally viewed as a first round pick, several other of his former teammates will be drafted this week. Here's a look at everybody. Got Jalen Milroe being projected to round 2. Early round 2 pick. And I said this early on. I've been saying this about Jalen Milroe. That would not be a bad thing for Jalen Milroe, who's kind of grown from a late second round pick, early third round pick, to a early second round pick, possibly sneaking into the first round still. A lot of talk around that, and I'm going to get into it. Tyler Booker, I think he's going in the first round. I don't believe he's going to the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't think you see an offensive lineman of his caliber sitting around. We just talked about all his qualities. Malachi Moore, they're saying a low draft grade. My thing is Malachi is a guy maybe doesn't pop out on the workouts. Maybe doesn't pop. Numbers don't pop, but you put him in the system and he's your second or third year guy development wise that pops in his second or third year, and we see him become a franchise type of guy. So 5th round, if so, it's about getting on the roster for Malachi. It's about getting on a roster because he's going to defy a lot of odds, and I think a lot of his stock drop was because of the surgery. You get what I'm saying? And my personal opinion, you can't base a guy's development, you know, off of injuries. He's already shown that his development, he's able to develop post injury once during his career. 1 second, my phone's ringing and I don't know where it's at. It's in here though. Give me a second, chat. My bad, chat. I can't be missing phone calls. I got VA appointments and stuff. Hopefully, I didn't disturb or interrupt our flow. So, looking at the continued draft prospects, somebody that's surprising to me that's kind of falling down in the draft as far as his projection, Q Robinson. I didn't know that his draft prospect, his draft stock had dropped so much. And I don't know, man. I don't think his injury should have affected in the 4 years that he was at Alabama. We saw Q Rob do everything at a high level. His first year, you saw him kind of struggle with not being the big dog, and then you saw his change after he got in that little incident. Special teams guy, if you get Q Rob in the 6th round, you're getting a quality special teams guy. You're getting a second round type prospect in the 6th round. You're getting a steal. All right, this is the guy. We've seen injuries plague teams, especially a team like Los Angeles Rams. Right, we've seen them become injury plagued. A guy like Q Robinson being available on your roster, he get through camp. You look at his athleticism. You add him to your roster. You got an inside backer. You got an edge backer. You got a special teams guy. It's gonna be interesting to see how his draft journey goes. Tim Smith, round 6. We did an interview with Tim Smith last year, right? And y'all remember I asked him, I said, what was the purpose of him coming back last season? And he said he wanted to be the best defensive lineman in the draft. Interior defensive lineman, the defensive tackle class is probably the most talented it's been in a while, right? In this draft, it's probably the interior, not across the front, not edges. What's up, Tim? But I would like to say this is probably one of the deeper talent, the quality interior defensive lineman classes we've seen. Did he perform at a high clip throughout the whole season? A lot of missed tackles in the backfield, right? Got stood up in the trenches a lot. Got stood up a lot in the trenches early on in the season, but then towards like the midway through the season after the Vanderbilt game, we kind of saw him turn on the clip. Like he turned on the switch. So seeing him go down to the 6th round, I mean, he's going to have to work to make a roster regardless, but it is not a lot of value in this class for him. He didn't take advantage of creating value for himself in this class. And but you go and get him in the 6, you might have a steal. If you can get him to turn that switch on, like keep that switch on like he did the last 8 weeks of the season, 8-9 weeks of the college football season last season, you got a quality prospect and you get a steal. Everybody else, Malachi Moore, CJ Dupree, I think these are quality prospects. One of the smaller classes we've seen from Alabama as far as the numbers going into the draft, right? One of the smaller ones. So we'll see. We'll see. You have how many prospects available this year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prospects. 6 prospects available in this draft. So this is going to be interesting to see how this unfolds tonight. We'll actually be live tonight while the draft is going on. Not necessarily providing coverage, just kind of reacting, seeing how it plays out for all of the draft players. Talking about all of your teams and where you think, who you think your pick's going to be, and all of that. So, now to dive deeper into this draft conversation, this year's draft players, we just went over it. I think there's something to be said about some of the media and the narratives surrounding certain players in the draft. Now, our fan base, we all know that I am not shy about sharing my thoughts about our fan base and how vocal they are when it comes to the Alabama players. Now, it's one thing to be said when a non-Bama outlet or someone that's not necessarily primarily a Bama sourced media, is one thing to be said when they have a take on a player, right? But then there's another thing to be said when you are the media and you have supposedly develop relationships with the players in the locker room to provide their viewpoints or interpret and translate their viewpoints of their college game and their experience at the University of Alabama to the fan base. It's a privilege, and it's something that I believe should be treated with a little bit more, handled with a little bit more care when it comes to how we divulge. And I'm trying to say this with the right words, y'all. Y'all know I'm trying to get right. How we speak on players, right? That's how I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna keep it simple like that. So when it comes to Jalen Milroe, yes, we're gonna go there. It's the draft night, and a lot of speculation around Jalen Milroe. And I understand it. Pull out the stats, pull out the facts, lay it out there. The numbers will tell you a part of the story. They will tell you where to look. But there was a narrative being promoted yesterday on Twitter that I was not pleased to see. And I immediately started to contact my sources to see who this anonymous source was that was being claimed to have been this anonymous source, or that was claiming to be on the insides when this statement was made. Because I'm curious. I'm very curious. Haven't heard of such findings for the time that I've been hanging around the team. Also want to also state that not only have I not heard this, but what players are you speaking on? Because and when was this conversation had, and if it was such important and relevant information, why was this not put out during our transition phase when guys were hitting the portal the initial time? So the conversation was, and I'm not gonna attack. I'm just taking a stand. That's all we're taking. I'm not afraid to take a stand. That's what we doing. Mike Rodak, very disappointed. Very disappointed. And we all know who. Well, we. All right, so Mike Rodak retweeted a statement made by Tom Pelissero, and we know who Tom is. I guess you can call him an NFL analyst or whatever you want to call him. You know, just because you get a lot of people follow you, I guess whatever you says is whatever you say is word is bond. But some of this stuff he's been saying about a lot of draft prospects, right? It's kind of crazy. But I like how this was taken out of this article, right? I like how it was taken out of this. Like, this was the highlight. You as a Bama coverage, somebody that writes for Alabama, right? You write for the University of Alabama, and you went and you read this article that was posted, and this statement out of all of them was your come watch and read what they're saying about the quarterback that took us to a 9-3 regular season, 9-4 season after the GOAT transfer. But this is the guy that you're begging to get interviews with, and you're asking for him to, you know, all of these things. And you go and you highlight this and you set this narrative to open up the door for right? You get what I'm saying? You see what you open the door for? You just open up the door for bashing. Like, is this what the media is supposed to do? Are we supposed to create the lanes to bash our guys, right? And so my thing is this anonymous source that said, we heard out of Alabama all the skilled players would have transferred if Miro had came back this season, right? That's what the word was. That if Miro came back, that we were going to lose all of the guys in the skills position room. What's up, Ashley? How you feeling? That's what the word was. So I look back at it and I sit there and I say, really? So I go to my phone and I said, hey, you heard this? And I get a reaction of, yeah, LOL. I said, so who? He said, if they ain't wearing crimson, F 'em. I said, that ain't telling me nothing. Okay. Boom. That ain't telling me nothing. He said, that's what the media do. Clickbait. Hashtag clickbait. That's what the media do. Hashtag clickbait. So my question is, and this is my question to the Bama fan base, why are we so driven by things like this when it comes to Jalen Milroe? But we never touch on the topic of players actually not wanting to suit up and play for Blake Barnett. Or we don't want to talk about the topic of discussion with Robert Foster and Darius Stewart, I think it was, guys like that, when Cooper Bateman was getting all this praise and supposed to be the guy that Bama fans wanted, right? We talk trash about my guy. They ended up getting over Cooper Bateman. What was his name? I forget his name. I had it in my head. It just slipped my mind. Jake Coker. A lot of fans talk trash about him being a transfer guy. He wasn't good at Florida State. He ain't gonna be good here. Like, we had so much confidence that who was the guy in front of Blake Sims supposed to take the job from Blake Sims? Jake Coker. Right? We had it's always a negative narrative around a certain quarterback, a certain style of quarterback or player, I guess you could say. And I don't want to make it a race issue, but it seems that anytime a player seems to be consistent in their delivery outside of football, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I look at guys who came to Alabama or transferred into Alabama, didn't necessarily have the best persona, but they left Alabama as better people. And because they didn't win a national championship or they dropped the pass, there's this certain bashing of players and their character or the narrative around them. I can tell you one thing about Jalen Milroe that's a fact, and you can fact check me with any player that's played with Jalen Milroe, any wide receiver that's played with Jalen Milroe. A lot of times, the look wasn't necessarily his fault. It wasn't you had a system his first year as a starter where it didn't matter who the quarterback was, they were going to dumb the system down or try to have it dumbed down to where it was going to be simplified and the quarterback could be a game manager. You turn around the following year and you completely change the system. Quarterback competition shapes out to the same, and he's the one that wins it. And this is a whole new system, and it's a simplified version of a system. And it's not even the system that you originally teach. Like, it's not even your philosophy. It's not even yours. And we're trying to limit our evaluation of these young men who had to learn 3 systems. You got quarterbacks in the NFL who don't even have to go through that. Right? Show me another quarterback in this year's draft that learned 3 offensive systems and didn't play more than 5 years of college football. 5 years. You had Michael Penix, 6-year collegiate athlete. You had Jaden Daniels, 5-year collegiate athlete. Power 5 level at that. A lot of these guys that are going into the league that we're trying to compare Jalen Milroe to, he did not have the luxuries nor the resources around him at the clip, at the consistency, at the level of consistency that these other guys had. Even Cam Ward going to Miami, a system and a coordinator that he was very familiar with. Right? So this Twitter noise, and then they came back, and y'all know I'm not a fan of this next guy that I'm about to highlight, but I kind of just it kind of pisses me off because this is all we get, and why does my question to the Bama fan base is, and Bama Nation, especially Gump Twitter, and it's a lot of people that I don't care to interact with on Twitter anymore, right? When it comes to Bama football, I just don't care to interact with you. You know, I have my opinion, I say what I say, and we have conversation. Once it gets towards disrespect, that's when I leave it alone. You know, viewpoints is viewpoints. But there's somebody that seems to thrive on anything negative surrounding Alabama football. And I want to know, I want to know why. I want to know why. So TT, all right, here you go. This is the one. This is the evaluation and unnamed AFC coordinator on Jalen Milroe. He's got a fastball that's not very accurate. He doesn't know when to take it off the ball. We heard out of Alabama all the skilled players would have transferred if he came back. Why do you have to highlight that? What about the other evaluations that we got? What's up, Wizzle, man? What about the other evaluations from the other 17, 18 teams that are really looking to get him in their system and develop him? The biggest upside for Jalen Milroe is that he has been productive in 3 different systems. You know why a guy like if a guy like Mateer has a big year for Oklahoma, why he's going to have a high draft stock? Because if he has a big year in this Oklahoma system, well, it's actually not another system. He's about to have a 3rd year in a freaking system that's made for him. Imagine if Milroe would have had an opportunity to just continue to develop under Tommy Rees, or even just start developing under Steve Sarkisian or Lane Kiffin. Imagine a system, a Hugh Freeze type of coordinator, quarterback coach for Jalen Milroe. We would have hated for Milroe to hit the portal and get picked up by Florida State with Gus Malzahn. Like, we would have hated that. Everybody would have been freaking foot in their mouth and everything. Because we know what coordinators, experienced coordinators do with guys like Jalen Milroe. And I'm not bashing Nick Sheridan. New situation. It's the first time for everything. I promise you. The first time you tried to, I ain't gonna say that. It's a family show. The first time you tried to cook meatloaf for all my cooks, it didn't come out right. I guarantee you it did. It didn't. A lot of times, even after you learn how to cook it and you get it cooked like you want, sometimes it don't come out right. Some things just don't happen. That's what happened with Milroe. But if you get them in a system, you develop them. Jason, stop. You get them in a system, you develop them. I think you have a dangerous prospect. Chief Running Bear always lying about stuff. He swear he knows something when it comes to Bama. He says that is true. One of the players that transferred to Baylor said many players do not like him, but at the end of the day, he gave Bama a better chance at winning. But the play calling was horrible in many games last year for Bama. Chief Running Bear, you're lying. The guy that you're talking about that transferred to Baylor, his reason for transferring to Baylor was, see, a lot of times it ain't even Milroe or it's the system. When you got a vertical passing concept, you have to be a dog on the perimeter to be able to create value for yourself or create looks for yourself, right? You didn't have many guys winning at the line of scrimmage at the perimeter. It's a perimeter concept in the passing game. Majority perimeter concept. So guys like Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, that thrived on the perimeter at the X and at the Z. That's why they got a lot of targets. And then when you saw guys like Kobe Prentice line up at the Z and drop passes, that's why you had to transfer. When you see guys like Kendrick Law not running the right route out of the slot and creating confusion in the concept. And then that's just this. Before we start pointing blame and trying to point out flaws, let's just talk about the fact that they were learning a whole new system. Literally, a play call would go in. You would get signals from the sideline, wide receivers getting signals. And the formation kind of may throw you off. You go from being the number 1 receiver to being the number 3 receiver. But you still thinking that you're the number 1 receiver. So you're taking the number 1 receiver call in a trips right situation when you're the number 3. And that's how you end up with 2 guys running a screen looking for the ball instead of 2 guys blocking and 1 looking for the ball. You see 2 guys looking for the ball and 1 guy blocking. So a lot of factors that help Jalen Milroe and can explain why we saw this offense stutter and not be as productive. Now, what I do like, I will say this, what I do like is the fact you have outlets like Next Round who will point out factual things and why Milroe draft stock may be dropping, not bashing him. These are facts. These are things that I have said. Would drop his draft stock. And I want y'all to watch this clip. Shout out to the Next Round, man. Y'all know I kind of go back and forth with a lot of their takes. They've had some different takes than what I've had. They've even, without admitting it, kind of just like, hey, they heard that your boy gonna be back, and you know, that's what they say. So let's watch this. This from the Next Round chat.
You look at the upside and the athleticism and the ability to just flat out just kill people running the football. But after the Georgia game, he had more interceptions than touchdowns thrown. So that was in the final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games.
Because the LSU game was such a running game for him, not a throwing game.
Hey, and he only had one game on those last 9 games, did I say?
Yeah.
One game where he had more touchdowns than interceptions, and that was the Mercer game. So, I mean, look, it was a train wreck at times. I mean, Oklahoma, 11 of 26, 164 yards, 3 interceptions.
Oh, that's the film that when you get to that film, you're like, are we drafting this guy?
Yeah, this guy can't be. He can't win the league.
We're drafting this guy. Like, I mean, they probably, I can imagine being an NFL GM or scout or whatever, and you sit down and you burn through that Georgia film, and you're like, my God, we got to trade up.
Yep.
We can't let this guy go. And then you get the LSU film, and you're like, whoo, Lord, can we get this guy today? And then you get that Oklahoma film, and you're like, boys.
Well, does that make any sense?
Your job's on the line if we pick this guy.
Let's hit the brakes.
You're 27 of 33, 374 against Georgia, 2 touchdowns a pick. You rush 16 times, 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then Oklahoma, 11 of 26, 164, no touchdowns, 3 picks, 15 carries, 7 yards.
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't make sense.
And see, this is the conversation I want to create. How much of that is on Milroe and how much of that is on play calling? How much of that is on execution around him? Because Oklahoma's defensive line ate our front up. He missed a few reads, but we also started the game where there was 3 drops on the first drive. 3 out of his first 4 passes. 3 out of his first 5 passes were drop, chat. You go watch that film. If you really watch that game, you say, okay, that's a killer. That's a killer. A guy that doesn't thrive in the quick pass game was hitting his target, making the right reads, and his top receivers weren't making the plays. Like, there are way more factors, and I'm not making excuses, but there are more factors that should go in. This is why the GMs make these evaluations. This is why, from a standpoint, this is why I look at it from when I talk about evaluating guys, I look at the whole picture. Even when we do when we evaluate highlight film for high school players, I look at not necessarily what they're doing, but if you got a defensive end that's blowing past a tackle or getting to the quarterback a lot, I tend to look at what's the defensive tackle doing next to him. What's the interior guy doing next to him? What's the defensive play call that's opening up for him? Trapreneur Sport, what's good, man? Like, what are they doing? What are they actually doing? What's happening around them? And so if you look at what happened around a lot of what happened around Jalen Milroe, the latter half of the season, right? Even in the Vanderbilt game, go look at what happened. A lot happened around him that just didn't align for him to be successful. So his legs is what he had to utilize to keep us afloat. And if anybody doesn't see that, like if you don't see that as a Bama fan or as a football fan, then you're not really watching the game of football. You're watching with an eye to discredit rather than to really evaluate, because there was a lot. The defense held this team together this year. The defense, to me, in my opinion, held the team together this year. Now, did we take advantage of a lot of opportunities? The offense had a lot of opportunities. Jalen Milroe had more opportunities to get better, meaning more snaps, more reps, more drives, to try and get better than a lot of players. I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks in this draft. He didn't take advantage of a lot of these opportunities, but I could look at that and I could see the balance. And as a GM, am I drafting Jalen Milroe to be a starting quarterback this season? I don't think no general manager in the league right now is looking at Jalen Milroe as their starter quarterback for this year. But am I risking him going somewhere else and developing, and in 2 years be the backup that comes in and just terrorizes the league? I don't think a lot of them are banking on that, especially with the transition of quarterbacks in the NFL. You look at the NFL right now. If you look at the NFL right now and you look at the quarterback, the change of guard between an era of quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and these guys are becoming the veteran guys. They're the stay-home guys. Patrick Mahomes going to be where he's at for a while in Kansas City. You got Jared Goff going to be stuck where he's at for a while. I think you got your boy Josh Allen up there in Buffalo is going to be stuck there for a while. Lamar Jackson just went through his little tear with the Ravens. He's going to be stuck there. You're starting to see some like 6 or 7 strong heads. That means there are going to be 24, 25 other teams over the next 3 or 4 years that are going to be looking for their next franchise guy. Jalen Milroe is somebody's diamond in the rough. And there are about 7 or 8 GMs that have picks in the first round that are contemplating heavily. I know these for facts. Shout out to Drew, man. My guy Drew. I met him last year when I was doing Jace's edit for his pro day. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on my YouTube channel. I did a little edit for my boy. It wasn't like it was just an edit to showcase, our editing skills, but also show that he was putting in work, because he got great evaluations and got picked up. My boy Jace, shout out to him, Jace McClellan. But I look at just the whole body of work of Jalen Milroe, and I think there's more to work with. He's not as limited as the others. His athletic ability sets him apart and puts him in a different category when you're talking about evaluating the quarterback position. Shout out to Johnny Boy for checking in. Who else just checked in? Tate, what's good, coach? That's facts. It's multiple variables at play. Alabama offense didn't execute last year, not just Milroe or not just Sheridan. Exactly. My sentiments exactly. Shout out to my boo. I guess she in the background watching somewhere creeping. She texting me. She creeping, y'all. Stop being a creeper. But real quick before we continue and transition into our next segment, that's kind of my talk around that. The whole thing is, I think we got to do better with the media that we give attention, right, to when it comes to supporting the Alabama Crimson Tide, especially a guy like Jalen Milroe. We're going to continue to have this conversation in the off season because it's a good conversation and is needed to be had about the quarterback situation at Alabama. But when it came to last year, it's going to be hard to convince anyone at the professional level, anyone at the collegiate level, that I'll say this. There were more teams that had rather face Ty Simpson with Alabama last year than facing Jalen Milroe, because the fact that you didn't know if he was going to be on or off in that game, passing wise, that's what makes him different. If you can develop a system that allows him to be consistent in the passing game, you are virtually unstoppable. And that passing game doesn't have to be explosive. And that's what I think Nick Sheridan and the staff had to roll with, because they only had a 6-week time span to really evaluate and develop any type of calling system or system of play calling that's going to help him establish a rhythm. Now you got experienced coordinators that can evaluate guys and dissect things because they've seen a lot. Nick Sheridan hasn't seen as much as most. So for what he took and was able to evaluate in that short time frame, I think he allowed Jalen Miro to grow. He peaked very fast, right? The growth probably wasn't as seismic as we had wished, but we definitely saw him peak, saw him grow and saw him peak very, very quickly. And it was still at a level where, hey, we were in every game that we lost, other than Oklahoma. Uncharacteristic loss there. But both games we lost, we were in. We were in them. Every game that he was the starting quarterback and we lost that game, we were in those games. All right, Jason, you have a good one too, man. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for stopping through. But we sit here and we talk about the draft prospects. We're going to be diving into it, reacting to it tonight. So make sure you tune back in. We're going to be live here during the draft reacting. I got the TV set up and everything. We're going to be on that tonight, doing our own little reaction draft party. I might get some food in here. Well, I'm doing some pulled chicken, some rotisserie, barbecue rotisserie chicken sandwiches. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but that's what I'm eating tonight. Hopefully I can get some french fries. Ooh, boy, y'all know I get excited when we start talking about food. Hey, listen, do not go anywhere. We're going to take a quick little intermission real quick. I'm going to put this little VOD up, or this little video clip up, so y'all can check out all the stuff that we have available for the Coach Smook Network. Listen, do not be shy about supporting and sharing this live, man. I really appreciate every share that we have. You guys just don't understand how much it helps when you like and you comment. When you're watching, if you comment, just say what's up or where you're watching from or something. It helps the algorithm. It helps us grow. And don't forget, y'all, the likes, man. The likes. Make sure you're liking the stream. That's the main thing. We don't care if you donate, super chat, whatever. Just like the stream. And if you see that reaction button at the bottom where you see hearts popping up on the screen, some of you may see hearts, tap that a couple of times, and that helps with getting more people exposure to the Coach Smook Network. So without further ado, quick little intermission, and we'll be right back. Run up the chat. You'll be able to see it on the screen here in a second. We'll be right back, chat.
Leandre Gotte Juice.
Remember, when you see me in the streets, holla at me. Say, put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. 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 Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Let's go, man. Hey, the crowd came in loud for y'all too, or was that just me? Came in kind of loud, ain't it? Kind of doing they're doing too much out there. Y'all too hype. Calm down, cut. Calm down, cut. Nah, we here with it, man. Hey, listen, there's a hot topic buzzing right now as we come on this last half hour of our show. A topic buzzing right now that I think needs to be kind of discussed, and I'm kind of just following along with the situation and how it's developing. But there's a story about this NCAA ruling proposes new rules to allow direct payments to players. But then I also just saw a story, and I don't know if Megan is available. I just saw a story about a court ruling in Arkansas about roster sizes and walk-on scholarships and all of this, limiting how that's supposed to become a set number. And they're trying to get parameters around it because they want to establish some system of equal pay, or I guess you could say value-based pay. There's a system and they want to bracket it. So let's dive into this little article here, and this is one I want to say was written by ESPN. Where's this one? Okay, yes, this was on ESPN. Heather Dinch of ESPN. Let me get this up for y'all real quick. Heather Dinch. That's her name. Her name's Heather. Check it out. So you got Heather Dinch. She writes the NCAA. Well, this is actual report. NCAA Division I Board of Directors on Monday proposed deleting 153 long-standing rules from its handbook, a move that would allow schools to share financial benefits directly with payers, and expected steps towards a new era of amateurism in college athletics, but one that remains contingent upon the approval of the House settlement. NCAA board members met for about 4 hours on Monday and emerged with 9 major proposed legislative changes, including permissions for schools to provide direct financial payments to players, including for use for their NIL. NCAA leaders are aiming to reshape the organization's role and are poised to effectuate sweeping changes by July 1st if the settlement is approved. Schools have until June 15th to decide whether to opt to provide benefits that would be permissible under the settlement for the coming academic year. Proposed legislation also includes sports-specific roster limits and allowing full scholarships to all student athletes on a declared roster. A move the NCAA said will double the scholarships available in women's sports. The proposed changes would also align with the expected House settlement, and this is what we were talking about with legislation getting aligned with the NCAA. This is the only way the NCAA will try to retain some type of power over college athletics, but more so, it's not necessarily college athletics that the NCAA is having a problem with controlling when it comes to NIL. It's not the full, not every athletic department. Baseball, softball, track, lacrosse, all of these schools aren't being as impacted as your 2 major hitters and revenue bringers, basketball and football, right? Well, I would say baseball is probably one of your higher ones, but basketball is probably on the entertainment side. As far as exposure and everything, basketball probably brings in the most revenue. These are the ones that get they're the front page of the news when you sign a recruit, when you get this guy out of the portal. These are the ones being affected by NIL the most, and that's impacting the landscape of college athletics. And I think they're coming to a point where they're trying to find some level ground between NCAA, NCAA and NIL, and they're finding, and the justices and legislation. I'm sorry, I'm running all my words together. NCAA and legislation, and they're finding a balance to keep both involved, which has been, in my opinion, the biggest problem. Too much legislation involved in college athletics. But in this situation, when it comes to basically turning our college athletes into employees, you have to have legislation. That's the law. If you're going to work, if you're going to earn money in the United States of America, you're considered an employee, right? Even entrepreneurs, we are employees of our brand or our business. We work. And when you do that, whether you do work for yourself or not, if you want to claim what you're owed as far as what you're being taxed off of your work and what you pay as far as in taxes, if you want that back, you have to be able to legally submit paperwork showing your obligations, commitments, payments, and all of that stuff, right? That's what receipts are. That's what your W-2s are. So if that's what we're going to want in college athletics, we all want the players to get paid. We need legislation to refine the boundaries so that we're not allowing these acts to be go and committed without being held accountable. We're talking about the portal. We're talking about true freshmen signing national letters of intent and getting out of national letters of intent because they're getting offered something elsewhere, right? And we're talking about boosters being able to pay off universities for a year of scholarship, right? I'm sorry, y'all. Because that's all you see. That's why you don't see much backlash when all this stuff goes down. You're basically seeing buyouts and money exchange. We literally saw a college blockbuster trade between UCLA and Tennessee happen. So legislation needs to happen. Continuing in the article, the new NIL clearinghouse and enforcement arm that aims to coexist with expected settlement terms was also included, along with rules intended to bring clarity and stability to the NIL environment for all Division I schools. To prevent schools from trying to circumvent the $20.5 mil cap, the NCAA has proposed rules to help add stability and accountability. I just talked about this. All players will be required to disclose their NIL agreements if they are greater or equal to $600. Agreements between the player and a third party outside of the school will be reviewed. And I think there need to be stipulations. There needs to be things that kids should not be privy to. You should not be able to get a Mercedes-Benz deal until your third semester of college. If we want it to be about student athletes transitioning to becoming professional athletes, set up progressional stages of accountability. Things you have to obtain. How many credit hours do I need to be eligible to even produce to be eligible and apply for this bracket? NIL. I think that will teach, that will continue to keep college football, right? College football, it incorporates the business aspect, because now as recruiters and coaching staff, now you get to provide some tangible evidence of what your program provides outside of giving you a $4,000 check every month for playing football. We also provide you an opportunity to learn to create value for yourself. So when you go out here and you're doing this commercial for Joe's dealership, the local pre-owned dealership, you learn from that experience. We create a network around you, so you learn negotiation, you learn presence, all of these things that you got to be able to do at the next level, and you start kind of creating your own professional, your college resume for your persona as a collegiate athlete or amateur athlete, semi-pro athlete now. That's what this is. If they continue to do these things and not necessarily take away to pad their pockets, because that's what it always ends up doing. Keeps these guys employed by staying relevant. NCAA board and all of that keeps these guys employed. So if they're able to find some balance and create some type of long-term transitional process, growth process for our collegiate athletes to transition to the professional ranks, this is good news. A lot of people are going to get not like this, because when you start talking about collectives and things, you take the power away from the people who aren't necessarily involved in the game, and you give the people who are involved and actually speak for the players, you give them more power and more of a stance to get things passed in favor of the players, and it kind of you know it's all about relinquishing power in these negotiations, and we don't see a lot of that in business when it comes to sports entertainment. So we'll continue to provide our reactions on NIL, college football, the portal, and how everything is changing as we continue to dive into college athletics, man. Just the overall evolution of college athletics in itself is an amazing feat to kind of sit back and admire and watch as we continue to watch every level struggle with the change and kind of have to and forced to adjust. We're forced to adjust. If we're going to enjoy collegiate athletics, we're going to be forced to adjust. So that's kind of it for the topics of the day on the morning show here on the Coach Smook Network, man. Hey, listen, I'm not going to be one to drag it out. And when we have our interactive shows, y'all see the different setups. You all know when we come here, we're trying to get some VOD style recordings. So thank you all for showing up and tuning in, man. Listen, tonight for the draft watch party, man, bring your snacks, bring your drinks, everything you need to have a good time. Bring it with you because we're going to have us a good time night hanging out, watching the draft. Going to be tuned into the NBA matchups tonight. My Lakers play tonight, so we might just stay live and just have a good old family night. Open up the Discord chat, get your voices heard on Discord. Might open the phone lines. Might do just a whole variety stream. And then late night gaming tonight. So if you're trying to get some smoke on the NCAA or trying to get in on Warzone late night, we'll be there tonight, probably around 10:30ish for all my late night owls that would like to hang out with your boy Coach Smook. We'll be live on TikTok, and we'll try to do. We'll see. We'll be live on TikTok for sure though. Make sure y'all continue to like, share, and subscribe on the video. If you're not a member of the AAA family, look at the main page of our YouTube channel. You click the details and you'll see the link. All of our links are there to all of our socials in that link tree link. Go there. You can also see the link to join the AAA family, to join and become a member of the team. If you want to be a member, get the inside scoop, the Smook scoop, right? Everything you need to know about Alabama when it comes to recruiting, team reporting, inside the locker room, what you heard, what you know, what you need to know. This is where you want to be here at the Coach Smook Network, and it's all authentic. We are an authentic community. That's why you hear us talking about the AAA family. Authenticity above all is what we believe in, and that's how we're going to continue to move in an authentic fashion. Thank you for tuning in today and supporting the Coach Smook Network. And remember, when you see me in the streets, holler at me and say, put me in the game, Coach Smook. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be blessed.
Remember, when you see me in the streets, holler at me. Say, put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. 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 Put me in the game, Coach Smook.